What's up, everybody? It's KZ here. I'm about to break down UFC 111. These are going to be my full card picks. We're going to start from the bottom of the card, work our way all the way to the top with the main event here. First things first, there have been a lot of reschedules with the first fight of the night, Jackson McVey versus Zachary Reese now at this point. First, it was Jackson McVey versus Robert Valentin. Then for a moment, it was Jackson McVey versus Dante Johnson. But Dante Johnson was not medically cleared from his last fight because he had just fought Cedricus Dumas. But yeah, it's going to be Zach Reese versus Jackson McVey. And so, yeah, two guys pulled out. Dante Johnson was going to fight him for about 30 minutes. And then the commission was like, nope, you're not fighting him. So, yeah. Moving right along, we got the first fight of the night, Zachary Reese versus Jackson McVey, even though it says Dante Johnson. Topology hasn't been updated. But yeah, guys, I'm picking Zachary Reese here. I just feel like he's the more explosive athlete of the two. I got him by KO. I don't know, man. Jackson McVey, he looked, I don't know. Like, Bruno Ferreira is a huge step up in competition from the dudes that this guy was fighting, and especially from who he was supposed to be fighting in Cedricus Dumas. You know, I was definitely picking Jackson McVey to win that fight, but, you know, Dumas pulled out because whatever the fuck he's got going on with his life. And then Bruno Ferreira came in, smoked Jackson McVey. Zachary Reese, last time out, he kicked Cedricus Dumas in the balls very fucking hard. Before that, he got knocked out by Azamat Bakoyev, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go ahead and confirm that here. Yeah, and then before that, he beat Jose Medina. Fucked up Julian Marquez, got slammed by Cody Brundage. But overall, I just feel like I've been more in. Okay, the Dusko Todorovic fight was in between the Azamat KO and then the Cedricus Dumas dick kick. But yeah, I like Reese here. I do think that he's just the more dangerous striker of the two. Jackson McVey is solid, but I just feel like Reese is faster, more athletic, just a stronger dude overall, but not just strength, but just overall like speed. I feel like he gets to the target quicker with his strikes, and that's what I like here, and that's why I'm going to be picking him. So then we got Miles Johns versus Daniel Marcos. The pick is going to be Daniel Marcos by decision. I think that Daniel Marcos has clean enough technique to win a decision over Miles Johns, similar to what Gene Matsumoto did. You know, Daniel Marcos has done it against better competition in Adrian Yanez and Davey Grant. Speaking of Yanez, his fight got canceled against Christian Quinones. Damn shame. Still hasn't been a replacement yet. But, yeah, I mean, Daniel Marcos has good footwork. He can manage the range with good straight punches, while Johns throws his wide looping shots. You know, Marcos is composed striking, his jab, and, you know, overall his distance management should be able to frustrate Johns and just win him round by round. Potentially, you know, Daniel Marcos by 29-28, 30-27. You know, Johns by KO is always a worry. He has that danger factor with those with that that punching power, but Daniel Marcos has never been finished. He's only lost a decision to Montel Jackson. And yeah, man, I think that he's going to be able to get it done against Miles Johns. This is a good bounce back fight for Daniel Marcos. You know, Johns is powerful, but like I said, he's overly reliant on that power. And I think that Marcos has the cleaner, you know, style to win rounds and land and outpoint Johns. You know, Johns, he's either KO or bust, and I'm thinking that Marcos is going to get the decision here. Now we got Tecia Pennington versus Denise Gomes. I'm going with Tecia Pennington. It's not like a confident pick. This fight is like either a flip a coin for me. Like I don't want anybody to bet on this fight based on what I say. I've been doing pretty good on the predictions tracker. I've been kind of doing pretty good with the pick rate. Don't fucking bet on Tecia Pennington and be like, bro, you told me to bet on Tecia and you lost me money. No, you fucking made the incorrect decision to bet on a ladies fight and you lost yourself your own goddamn money. Be a man and take your fucking responsibility for your actions, motherfucker. But anyways, this fight's hard to call, man. You know, Gomes is your typical meathead, low IQ, power punching Brazilian lesbian. Tecia Torres is, you know, or Tecia Pennington, whatever, is a fast and technical, you know, quick in and out point scoring lesbian. You know, Gomes has more finishing capability with the punching power, but Tecia Torres, I feel like, is the more skilled fighter. You know, if Gomes doesn't catch her or, you know, put her out, I guess she could out wrestle her. But I don't know, man. Tecia Torres has good takedown defense. She's really athletic. She's really fast. I like Tecia Torres Pennington by decision. She just has a cleaner technique and better movement. I don't like that Denise Gomes lost to Angela Hill, and I feel like Tecia Torres is probably just like kind of a quicker, better version of Angela Hill. Or Denise Gomes is going to go out there and land one of her fucking Jessica Andrade-esque punches and get the win. But I'm gonna pick Tecia Torres based on her speed advantage here that I feel like she has. If she's slowing down, due to the age, Denise Gomes might be able to catch her, but we'll see. I'm going to go with Pennington. Like I said, this is not fucking financial advice. Don't come at me, all right? I'm just making fucking YouTube videos, all right? If you lose money based on what I say, that's your own goddamn fault, okay? Moving along, we got Josh Hokit versus Max Gimenis. Gimenis, he's Brazilian, so it's like Gimenis. This is a really fucking tough fight to call for me. Like, I don't feel like Josh Hokit should be a minus 400 favorite. I mean, to be fair, Gimenis has only fought bums in MMA, and there's literally zero footage of any of his MMA fights because I fucking tried to find it, bro. I'll tell you that. He was fought in Shogun Fighting Championship or something like that. Shogun Fights. Yeah, so this dude was fighting in Shogun Fights, but as you can see as well, a very, very experienced high-level grappler. Lots and lots and lots of jiu-jitsu competition for Max Gimenis. So that's where the concern on my part lies for this fight. Josh Hokit is a wrestler primarily. Josh Hokit has also only really fought bums, plus a Dana White Contender Series fight where none of these guys were able to stop his takedown. Like, Max Gimenis is not a guy that you want to take down necessarily. He has a lot of high-level grappling experience. And I think that this is a much harder fight to call than the odds show. Like I said, Hokit usually wins these fights by out wrestling his opponents, and I don't think that he's going to want to tangle on the ground with Gimenis. This might end up being a striking battle, and I'm picking Josh Hokit based on his speed that I feel like he has. He has fast hands. He's pretty mobile for a heavyweight. He's on the lighter side at 229. So he's a pretty athletic dude. I feel like he's going to be faster with the hands and just, with the footwork than Max Gimenis. That's just kind of like a big brawler jiu-jitsu guy. And I think that his wrestling is going to be good enough, if Gimenis does want to take this down to the ground, that he should be able to keep it up on the feet. So I like a sprawl and brawl type style for Josh Hokit here, just an anti-wrestle. Just go with the typical Justin Gaethje wrestle boxer game plan. Keep it on the feet, land big shots. So, I don't know, man. Like, a part of me wanted to favor Max Gimenis just because of the high-level jiu-jitsu that he has. But I don't know, man. Like, both guys made their MMA debuts 2 or 3 years ago. And I feel like both guys are really just getting these wins over fat guys that can't wrestle or grapple. So, like, I feel like their grappling is going to cancel each other's out, and it's going to be stuck. It's going to be primarily contested on the feet. Like I said, Gimenis is a really high-level jiu-jitsu black belt that has a lot of grappling experience. I'm just like, I feel like a part of me wants to pick him by submission, but it just feels like a reach. But there is like just that nagging little voice in my head that says, Gimenis can sell him, man. I mean, if Hokit's trying to fuck around on the ground, Gimenis can definitely reverse a position, wind up on top, and get a submission here. But like I said, I feel like that's a reach. I don't feel like I would just be trying to be like, oh yeah, I'm the one guy picking Gimenis by submission. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like that kind of thing. So, and then also I don't want to just like follow Hokit because everybody else is picking him. But I don't know, man. This is a tough one for me. But I am going to pick Hokit. I do think that he gets the KO here. I think that he keeps it on the feet. I think that he's the faster striker of the two. And I think that he should be able to hit Max Gimenis with big shots. And, if he does hurt him following up with solid ground and pound, he does have good top pressure, good top control. I don't think that he wants to scramble on the ground when Gimenis is fully, not rocked. Like, he's just fully conscious and aware of everything. But if he rocks him with some big shots on the feet, then he can follow up with the ground and pound. And I feel like, he's a big, heavy dude. He should be able to establish that top control position. But I don't just be hanging out there, because you can get reversed. You can end up on bottom, and that's not really where you want to be with a high-level jiu-jitsu guy in Gimenis. So that was a long way to fucking say that I'm picking the minus 400 favorite. But I'm just saying that Gimenis by submission is like, it would not be the most shocking thing in the world for me to see that. But you guys, like I reiterated fucking 50 times at this point, we're going to Hokit. Now we got Mayra Bueno Silva versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. I don't know, man. Mayra Bueno Silva's cardio, her mentality, it's just unreliable. She fades when she can't bully her opponents. She gets easily discouraged in these fights. You know, we've seen her like mentally check out of fights before. She just gets like, oh, she starts to feel like sorry for herself, you know? And I don't see any of that from Cavalcanti. Cavalcanti's younger, more measured, just technically tighter on the feet. You know, as long as she can defend like the grappling exchanges, you know, maybe early submission attempts, I think that she should take over with the striking volume. I got Cavalcanti by decision. Mayra Bueno Silva has dangerous jiu-jitsu, but I think that Cavalcanti is going to be a smart enough fighter to not fuck around with her there. And she's just going to, you know, keep this at range, land her good shots. It's not like Mayra Bueno Silva has like the craziest wrestling in the world. And I think that Cavalcanti should be able to get it done here. You know, Mayra Bueno Silva does have a lot more high-level experience, but I don't know, man. She hasn't looked great in her most recent fights. And, you know, she lost to Macy Chasson. Granted, it was a doctor stoppage, but I don't know, man. I like Cavalcanti to get it done. Another solid favorite here. Yeah, I would even maybe put Cavalcanti in a parlay of mine. Like I said, this isn't fucking financial advice, but I don't know. I like Cavalcanti. She's a pretty confident pick for me here. Now we got Jamall Emmers versus Hyder Amil. I'm liking Hyder Amil here. I feel like he should be able to break Jamall Emmers. I think that he gets a finish inside the distance. I think that he gets a KO. I don't know, man. Jamall Emmers, it's like he's not that good. He's good. He's skilled, obviously. He's in the UFC, but he's not that fucking good. You know, Hyder Amil walked down and beat up William Gomes, who I feel like is significantly better than Jamall Emmers. You know, and the only loss on his record is against Jose Delgado, which I feel like was a kind of a little bit of an early stoppage. And we just saw Jose Delgado fight Nathaniel Wood, damn near knocked him out in the first round too. So there's no shame in losing to a fucking absolute savage in Jose Delgado. So I think that Hyder Amil, he's going to be able to walk Jamall Emmers down. He's going to be able to land big shots on him. Jamall Emmers does not have the same kind of danger factor as Jose Delgado. You know, we've seen that in his last few fights with Jose Delgado. He's a fucking killer. So Amil getting finished by that kid is not a bad look. I mean, granted, did he get it put out in 20 seconds, which is a bad look, but, you know, I mean, he got caught with a big knee up the middle. He wasn't completely out. He was still kind of like getting up, and then was it Jason Herzog? Dun, dun, dun. Fucking suspicious. That was a pretty quick stoppage. Maybe Jason Herzog bet on fucking Delgado by KO, but that's besides the point. I think that Amil's constant pressure, volume, he got cardio for days. He's going to be just walking this dude down in his fucking face, pressuring the shit out of him. Emmers is skilled, but he's notoriously inconsistent, and I don't feel like he deals well with forward pressure. We saw him got broken by Nate Landwehr. Amil's chin and aggression should hold up long enough to drown Emmers, I feel like. And yeah, so I got Amil via late TKO or a dominant decision, but I'm leaning more towards TKO. Now we've got Christian Leroy Duncan versus Marco Tulio. This is another fight that I was kind of just like, damn, man, this is a tough one to call as well. But I'm on Marco Tulio here. These guys are both fucking cheaters, though, man. These guys are going to be fouling the shit out of each other. Tulio got the KO over Potieria after kneeing him in the balls. Tulio kicked Gore in the balls, too. Motherfucker's dirty, man. And Chris Leroy Duncan eye-poked Eric Anders almost immediately in their fight. A thumb right in the eye. Kicked him in the balls as well in both less than a minute and 6 seconds. So, yeah, these cheaters are going to be fouling the shit out of each other. But, yeah, Tulio's a good, well-rounded fighter. Good dynamic striking. Lots of weapons, you know, lots of versatility with the striking arsenal. He's got good kicks, knees, spinning kicks, good straight punches, elbows, you know, solid wrestling and grappling as well, but he's primarily a striker. And he's defensively sound. He's got good head movement. You know, I like Tulio a lot in this fight. But, yeah, I think that CLD, he's obviously a fucking good fighter. He's very dangerous as well. You know, Eric Anders was able to take CLD down, control him from the back for a minute. CLD was able to end up getting back to his feet, reversing the position, pressing Eric Anders up against the cage and breaking off. And then he hit him in the balls again, and then he got the finish over Eric Anders. A lot of cage control against his Andrei Pulayev in his last fight. Yeah, I like Tulio by decision. I just feel like I've been more impressed by his performances. He's a more consistent minute winner, I feel, fewer defensive lapses. And I feel like he could kind of expose Christian Leroy Duncan, where we've seen him been exposed before by Gregory Rodriguez in the grappling. So I just feel like Marco Tulio can definitely hang on the feet, and he has a little bit more of an X factor in the grappling over a guy in Christian Leroy Duncan, who is good, explosive, well-rounded, powerful striker. But I think that Tulio is clean enough to avoid the big shots and get a decision win here. All right, had to step away for 1 second, but yeah, we got Tulio CLD. The pick is Tulio by decision, and you guys just heard that whole breakdown. So moving right along, we got Ricky Simone versus Raoni Barcelos. I'm going Ricky Simone here. I think Ricky Simone is the more dangerous puncher of the two, and he's fought better people more recently. I mean, yes, Song Yadong did beat him, and that wasn't really a close fight, but I feel like Song Yadong would definitely beat Raoni Barcelos as well. That KO win over Javid Basharat was very impressive. He got beaten by Vinicius Oliveira, but Vinicius Oliveira is a fucking dog. Had a close, tough fight with Mario Bautista, and that loss hasn't aged badly with Bautista. Neither has the one against Vinicius Oliveira. Like, we've seen that those guys are fucking legit fighters. So Ricky Simone is only losing to, like, essentially the best of the division. Not the best of the best, but, like, the upper echelon, like, high level of the division. I mean, granted, Raoni Barcelos, same thing, getting knocked out by Umar Nurmagomedov. But then that Kyler Phillips loss was kind of a robbery. And then he got a win over Trevin Jones. That doesn't really mean much. The submission win over Christian Quinones, who has a hole in the grappling. Out-wrestled Peyton Talbot before he decided to learn how to wrestle. And then out-wrestled Cody Garbrandt, who, is kind of at the end of the road as well here. But, I mean, just apart from their records and who they've fought, I just feel like Ricky Simone has more punching power of the two. I like his speed to get it done over 3 rounds, maybe even potentially getting a KO here. But I do see their wrestling nullifying each other's. I don't really see Ricky Simone controlling Barcelos on the ground or Barcelos controlling Ricky Simone on the ground. Both guys are really scrambly and scrappy. And if it's a kickboxing match, I do like Ricky Simone's chances to get it done here. Possibly in the distance, I would say KO or points. But yeah, I'd say that this fight is primarily contested on the feet. Raoni Barcelos does have solid enough striking, serviceable. He's got some good straight punches, but I like Ricky Simone's speed here, especially coming off of that Javid Basharat KO win. Very impressive win over a talented and previously undefeated striker and all-around well-rounded fighter in Farid Basharat. Or was it Javid Basharat or Farid Basharat? I forget the difference. Yeah, over Javid Basharat, yes. And then he wrestle-fucked Cameron Smotherman. He smothered Cameron Smotherman. And, moving along, I got Ricky Simone KO points. Moving along, we got Chris Padilla versus Ismael Bonfim. I'm picking Padilla here. I feel like he's just defensively sound enough to hurt Ismael Bonfim. Well, I mean, to not get hurt by Ismael Bonfim. And I do feel like he has dangerous striking in his own right. He has a stiff jab. And, I just feel like he's got good elbows as well. You saw him catch Rong Zhu coming in, blew his eye up. I don't know, man. I like Chris Padilla here. I feel like he has good fighting instincts. Bonfim's wins over Terrence McKinney and old man Vince Pichel aren't just going to be good enough for me to pick him here. He is a good fighter, a talented striker, but I don't know. So is Padilla. He's also a skilled striker as well. So I feel like Padilla can have success in the grappling, even if Bonfim is giving him issues on the feet. So I like Padilla by decision or a late stoppage if Bonfim fades. I think that Padilla is the more gritty fighter of the two as well. We've seen Bonfim broken by BSD. We saw him, there was a doctor's stoppage against Salikhov, but before that, Bonfim was just like holding his eye. He was in a lot of pain, dealing with, oh my God, my fucking eye. Like, he didn't handle it well. So I don't know. I'm picking Chris Padilla. I feel like he's the mentally tougher of the two fighters, and I like his skills as well. All right, moving along to Muslim Salikhov versus Uros Medic. I'm going with the King of Kung Fu here. I'm pretty surprised that he is a slight underdog. I mean, I guess it makes sense considering the guy's 41 years old. Uros Medic is coming off of that KO win over Gilbert Urbina. Before that, he got brutally knocked the fuck out by Punahele Soriano. Before that, got an uppercut KO over Tim Means, who's pretty old and washed. And I don't know, man. I like Muslim Salikhov's most recent performances. I think that he's fighting the better guys. Got a TKO over Carlos Leal. Got that crazy ass spinning wheel kick over Kenan Song. Split decision win over Santiago Ponzinibbio. He got TKO'd by Randy Brown, but I feel like Randy Brown is a lot better than Uros Medic. Lost a decision to Nicholas Dalby. Nicholas Dalby's a dog. No, not much shame in that. And yeah, man, I just feel like Muslim Salikhov, I like his timing. I like his speed, regardless of how old he is. AJ from MMA Experts did say something interesting. Those last couple of wins have been in Abu Dhabi or, in the Middle East. Let's see. This last one was, in Abu Dhabi. The one before that was Macau, China. So they've been overseas essentially. Could be a little bit, a little bit more lax in the drug testing overseas, AJ made a good point with this. He said that, this is the first time Muslim Salikhov is fighting in Las Vegas over stateside in a pretty fat minute. So if he comes on into the weigh-ins, looking kind of deflated, not looking as, hard-bodied as he has been in these recent wins, I don't know, man. Potentially, a Uros Medic pick flip could be in the future. But if he comes in the weigh-ins looking like he has been looking before, Salikhov he's a dangerous striker. He's been KO in higher level of competition in the UFC than Medic has. He has great timing on his strikes. And, we've seen Medic get KO'd before by Punahele Soriano swinging a fucking overhand from his ass. So Muslim Salikhov is a lot better striking, timing, maybe not just raw power than Punahele Soriano, but the way that Muslim Salikhov put out Carlos Leal, you can't underestimate this guy, I feel. I think that he can get this done over Uros Medic, who is a technical striker. He is a good striker in his own right. But I picked him to KO Gilbert Urbina, but I don't know, man. I feel like Muslim Salikhov is a little bit more of the next level in terms of striking technicality and just the danger factor here. So I'm going with Muslim Salikhov. I'm going to go with the UFC vet. I'm going to go with the experience. I might end up regretting picking a fucking 41-year-old man if he goes out there and he really looks 41. But, I picked Carlos Leal over Salikhov, and that was dead wrong. He got knocked the fuck out. So I'm going to go ahead and ride with the Birdman here. Muslim Salikhov kind of looks like fucking Droopy the dog from Looney Tunes. This is kind of what Muslim Salikhov looks like. So yeah, I'm going with Droopy. I'm going with Muslim Salikhov. I think that he can get the job done here. Now we got Matt Schnell versus Joseph Morales. I'm going Joseph Morales. Schnell is dangerous early, but he's fragile, man. We've seen this chin get cracked plenty of times. Not even suspect durability. We have seen this, the durability is guilty of the crime. All right, it's not fucking suspect. This shit is not good. He cannot take shots. Morales isn't elite, but he's durable. I feel like he's got good grappling. I feel like he's got solid enough striking. Has good fundamentals. Schnell, if he lands on you, he tends to get a little bit wild. He opens up, leaves himself open for counters. Morales' boxing, I feel like, should be able to be good enough to capitalize on the defensive lapses of Matt Schnell and definitely, catch him, hurt him, and maybe he puts him down with that glass chin. But I see that he has elite grappling that we saw in his win over Alibi Idris, where he was a big underdog. And I think that he can out-grapple Matt Schnell. I think that he can outstrike Matt Schnell. I'm pretty much counting out Matt Schnell in all facets of this. Unless Matt Schnell just goes out there and gets a one-punch KO, I don't think that this is going to happen for him here. We've seen Suma Derji hit Matt Schnell with the same fucking hand trap lead elbow 5 fucking times in a row. That's telling for a lack of fight IQ on Matt Schnell's side. He captured, Suma Derji got the lead hand, came over the top of the lead elbow, cracked Matt Schnell with that shit several times, over and over and over again. Bro, you're gonna fall for the same shit that many times, Matt Schnell? Come on, bro. I mean, granted, Matt Schnell did come back to win that fight, but he got his ass. That was a war. That was a crazy ass fight. But Joseph Morales outdogged Alibi Idris to win the Ultimate Fighter. I think that he can outdog a glass chin Matt Schnell here. I like him by submission. I think that he gets it done inside the distance. But yeah, now we got Gabriel Bonfim versus Randy Brown. Rude boy! I like Randy Brown here. You know, Randy Brown is a more seasoned and composed striker of the two. Gabriel Bonfim obviously has that edge in submission grappling, just wrestling overall. But I don't know, man. Randy Brown's length, range control, and counter punching. I think that they should allow him to pick Bonfim apart once the initial, grappling and storm passes. Bonfim goes pretty hard in the beginning. He might pace himself more here, based on we've seen him gas out in these fights. In the third round, he had to hang on for dear life against Wonder Boy. And that was arguably a robbery. Wonder Boy was fucking landing on him clean. He was hurting him, got him with that head kick, rocked the shit out of him. And, we've seen Gabriel Bonfim get broken by Nicholas Dalby. Randy Brown was able to put Nicholas Dalby out. I mean, that's MMA math, but, I feel like Randy Brown is just like he's just more of a dog of the two. We've seen Randy Brown lose. He lost to the champion, Jack Della Maddalena. He got fucking smudged against the cage by Brian Battle, who came in missing weight. I don't know, man. And then, other than that, he lost to Jack. He lost to Jack and he lost to Brian Battle. Two good fighters. He lost to Vicente Luque, but that was 2020 Vicente Luque when Vicente Luque was still a fucking dog. I don't know, man. I just Gabriel Bonfim. It's like he gets these wins. He barely won against Stephen Thompson. Chaos Williams, that win has aged like shit. Chaos Williams is terrible. Got a win over Angelusa. Win hasn't aged well either. Got to win over Trevin Giles. Trevin Giles is a middle-of-the-road guy. Got TKO'd by Nicholas Dalby. It's just like the level of competition, man. He's not beating guys that are close to Randy Brown's level outside of Stephen Thompson, and that was a controversial split decision. So I'm picking Randy Brown here. I'm picking him by fucking KO. I think that he's going to be able to get it later on in the fight, maybe rounds 3, round 4. I think that he has the better cardio. I think that he should be able to pick Gabriel Bonfim apart after, the initial grappling attack starts to subside, starts to fade out. Bonfim starts to slow down. Bonfim is live, get him with a submission early. Like if Brown just really can't stop the grappling, it's going to be a big fucking issue. But if he's able to stifle the grappling from Bonfim enough to where he can get himself back to the feet, keep himself safe and, kind of risky positions, I would say, on the ground or dangerous positions on the ground. If he's able to get out of a few submission attempts, I think Bonfim can kind of, slow down. I also think that he might be a little bit, I don't really want to say because I am picking Chris Padilla, but regardless of what happens with his little bro, Ismael, or I guess his big little bro, Ismael, because he's actually the younger brother. I don't think that should affect him coming into this fight, regardless of what happens. Yeah, I mean, Bonfim should come in here. I think that he's going to get discouraged after his initial grappling attack starts to fail. So, Brown has underrated grappling defense. He can use the clinch to wear on Bonfim. I think that he knows what to expect coming into this fight. He knows that Bonfim is going to go out there, try to grapple him. He's going to have a good game plan, and he's going to be able to use his superior striking to get the win here. So those are the picks, y'all. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hopefully we can continue this hot streak that your boy has been on over the past 2 weeks here. We did well on UFC 321. We did even better on UFC Vegas 110. I went 11 for 2 on the picks. We only got Ante Dalia and Themba Garembo wrong. Other than that, fucking got every single one of those picks right. But yeah, man. Yeah, obviously, besides the 2 I got wrong, I got them all right. Yeah, no shit, idiot. Okay, but yeah, these are the picks here. We've got Randy Brown KO round 3, Joseph Morales submission round 2, Muslim Salikhov KO round 1, Chris Padilla KO round 2, Ricky Simone by decision, Marco Tulio by decision, Hyder Amil KO round 1, Jacqueline Cavalcanti decision, Josh Hokit by KO round 1, Tecia Pennington decision, Daniel Marcos decision, and then it was Dante Johnson KO round 1, but I'll assume that Zachary is going to get the KO. Maybe not in round 1, potentially round 2. I don't know. But neither one of these guys, Jackson McVey or Zach Reese, is too great. So the pick is Zach Reese. It's not like I'm telling you guys that he's a lock or anything. The lock for this card, shit. I would say the person I'm most confident in on this entire card, I would say it's between Hyder and Amil. I don't want to lock Jacqueline Cavalcanti, even though she is a confident pick. I do think that she's going to win. But I'll say hi to Amil, man. I think that he can get this done. I think that we saw Jose Delgado is a really fucking special fighter, and I don't think that Jamall Emmers is a special fighter. So I'm locking Hyder Amil. I think that he can get this done. He's a very confident pick. But yeah, guys, that's UFC Vegas 111, Bonfim versus Brown. Hopefully we're able to continue this hot streak with the picks, but a couple of these fights are a little bit iffy for your boy, especially Pennington, Gomes, Marco Tulio versus Leroy, Duncan, and shit. I mean, the main event, I'm pretty confident in Randy Brown. And yeah, I would say that those are the two that I'm just kind of feeling a little bit iffy about. Pennington, Gomes, and then Marco Tulio versus Leroy, Duncan. But I'm picking Tecia Pennington. I'm picking Marco Tulio. But they are fighting very good fighters, at least based on their skill set. Because I wouldn't call Denise Gomes a very good fighter, but it is what it is. You guys get it. Those are the picks. Fucking leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know what you're thinking about the fights in the comments. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about? Do you think that I'm going to eat shit this card? Do you think the hot streak is going to be over? Do you think it's going to keep going? Tell me what you think. Let me know. Talk to your boy, KZ, and I will see you next time I make a video. So yeah, peace out, bros. I'm going to try to be a little bit more consistent with the content that I put out. I don't just want to be putting out just predictions videos only. I want to be, a little bit more like a variety coverage of MMA. Like I didn't talk about the Isaac Dogarian thing, like the whole fight fixing, all that fucking crazy shit. But yeah, that's for another video. I will see you guys next time. Peace out. Enjoy the fights.